Welcome to this season of the Broadway Podcast, where here we give you a more real-time point of view of people who work, interact, and entertain here in Broadway, Nashville. We get the opportunity to provide hot gossip, but we also take the opportunity to provide a more positive outlook on people who call Nashville their home. Ride with us as we take you down a trip on Broadway.
This is the life we choose, life we choose. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. I've been doing just fine, alright now. This is the life we choose. This is the life we choose.
Hi, Alexis.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Absolutely.
How you been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, I'm great. Just out here working,
Yeah,
just making $1 in Broadway.
I love that. So basically, I had Daquan on earlier, and we talked about some things. But with you, I kind of want to talk about the dating scene in Nashville
Whew.
and how that has affected your personal life, and how that affects like how you go about like your everyday life as far as like dating. But firstly, where are you from, babe? Like
Charlotte, North Carolina.
awesome. And what brought you to Nashville?
Nothing brought me to Nashville.
Just said
I like country music, live music, and I just thought Nashville would be a hot spot to go and bartend and meet people. And us being bartenders, we're social people. That's like what we enjoy doing.
yeah,
so.
it's like easy to come here and just like make it happen. I think that moving to Nashville is sometimes scary for the singles because nobody thinks that we can have relationships here because everybody's tourists. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's true. I feel like everyone you meet, no one lives here. So, or no one's from here, or the people here do not, it's like the guys that we have available to us are the grass is greener type. Like they have so many choices. There's so many beautiful girls out here. And there's not a lot of quality guys, in my opinion, or from what I've seen. So it's hard to nail down someone who's emotionally available, and wants to settle down and have like a real relationship.
Yeah, a real life. And also like people that come into town be acting brand new. Like they become somebody totally different. You might not get John from Arkansas. You might get John Wick from like they act different when they get here. Like they're just like out of like character.
Oh yeah.
So like when you meet these people, it's like they give you one thing and then you start like talking to them like, well, I'll leave town in 3 days. I'm like, well, there
They
we go
paint
with
a
that.
pretty picture for the first couple of weeks until they show their true colors.
Let's talk about those true colors.
Well, I had a great experience last night, for instance. Went out with a guy. He just moved here recently, like 2 months ago. Seemed like a great guy. Was a guy that was my age. I feel like here I've been dating a lot of younger guys, and being 34, it's like we're bartenders.
Is he from
a
here?
lot of the people here younger. No, he's not from here. Cali.
Okay.
But he was a nightmare. Went out with him actually the first time a couple nights ago, and everything was great. And then last night it was a complete 180. Like, I don't know, the red flag started from using the restroom one too many times too often, and he wanted to blame it on like a bladder problem. But we all know what that is.
Texting somebody
We
else on
all
the phone.
know
Shady.
going to the bathroom like that, and then personality changing too quick. He was fired up over men looking at me, was on his phone the whole night. There was a guy that I bought a shot who was like right beside us and asked us what we were drinking. And I was like, oh, just add another shot for the guy. Got bent out of shape that I bought this guy a shot. And, the guy was not my type. And he should have known that.
So why were you on a date with him if you want your shot?
Oh, well, you got to try it. You don't know until you try.
That's true.
So a lot of red flags, anger problems, just
Anger problems.
Oh, he got real mouthy. So I was like, you know what? We got to the next bar and I left.
Is this always the experience when it comes to like the guys here?
No, I think there's always a different story. But I mean, it's a lot of different situations. Exes, the guys going back to exes, or you bust them talking to other people and they're saying you're the only one. It's just, the same old crap all the time.
I feel like it's harder in Nashville for sure because one, either you're a tourist and you're not here for very long, or you live here and you're a new local and you know all my friends. That is a
Small
problem
circle.
for me. It's like, man, I can't even get with this person or even like try to attempt to date this person because he or she may potentially be in a secret relationship with somebody who I may or may not know, or have dated this person I've already known. And has that happened to you before?
So, several times. Yeah. I mean, it's Nashville. We all know each other. If you're going out in the scene, if you're going to specific places, the same people go to the same places all the time.
For sure, yeah.
And again, with that guy, he knew a lot of people that we knew. So I thought, okay, maybe a safe bet. And it was,
Red flag number one, my friends.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. So not a good time. Not a good time.
So second date or no?
Absolutely not.
Well, that was a bad day. Let's talk about some good dates.
Oh God. Well,
You gotta go
I don't
back in the
have any
archive.
experience in that right
come
now.
on. You've had some good.
Not in Nashville so far. I mean, I've met people traveling that I, got along with, but again, they don't live here, so it's hard to have. I'm not against a long distance relationship. I think it could work out. It depends on the person's personality and if they're independent and comfortable. But for whatever reason, it's just not happened yet.
So what do you look for, when you're out on the dating scene? What do you actually look for?
I think my number one thing is I want someone who's emotionally intelligent. My whole thing now, after growing up and having bad relationships, I've learned a lot about myself and my needs. And I think I've kind of always been the type to want a bad boy or go for toxic men. And I've really worked on myself and trying to change that. Yeah. So someone who's emotionally intelligent and available and knows that up front is the number one thing. If you can get me here, everything else kind of falls into place.
Well, that's a threat to some people, though. You know what I mean? Having that kind of mentality, it's good, it's healthy for sure, but that's a big threat for some people. And I think that's why it's so hard here in Nashville to meet the right person, because when you find out all right, this is what I want, this is what I need, you gotta your list of people go from 100 to 5. Yeah. Because people don't have the capacity, I feel to understand that or even want to get down with that, because they're okay, if you're going to be that difficult to date, then I have 15 other people in my roster that I can just go talk to and just easily hook up with. And so it's a hookup culture in Nashville. And it's sad to say, but it's a hookup culture sometimes, especially when you bartend on Broadway. It's you meet these phenomenal people that you think are great, and they give you this whole facade, and then you actually go on a date. You take the time out to go on a date with them, and they're it's damn, man, really? Come on.
At the end of the day, we're all adults, and
I feel
questionable. I feel hookups, it's all the same, right? Unless you have a real connection with someone, that part doesn't really hit home for me, anyways, personally. I'm just not. I don't want the hookups. I don't need a hookup. Yeah. I've got a store down the road I can go grab a toy from.
Oh my God.
No, I don't need no. You're gonna have to bring more to the table.
Well, we're older though, so we have different processes of how we
standards.
Yeah, we have. Well, there we go. We have standards, and I feel I don't know, in Nashville, the age group varies a little bit, and once you start reaching the 30 mark, it's
it's hard to find people in their 30s because you're on Broadway. If we're not working, if I'm not working, I want to go be at the gym. At the gym, I don't want to talk to people. Yeah. That's my time to zone out and focus on me. And then outside of that, we hang out with our friends, but I'm not really looking when we're out on Broadway or at the bars.
Right.
And then, my alone time is very important. Like, I love being by myself. I love doing things by myself. So when you add that all up at the end of the day, the opportunities to meet someone really shrink.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
Online dating.
Oh, I hate online dating.
God, online dating is so exhausting. It's like, I start to find people that I'm attracted to, but then 10 people later that you're attracted to, the same conversation. Hey, how's your day? What do you do for a living? What are your hobbies? What's your favorite color? Like, I am so tired of answering the same 20 questions.
Like robot. Like, if I want to talk to a robot, I'll just like...
Exactly. So, I feel bad because there could be good opportunities online that I'm missing out on, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It's like a turn and burn. It's a constant rotating door.
Not turn and burn. Do you use dating online more so than you use?
I've been on a couple Hinge dates, but I would prefer to meet someone organically.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
I like to meet someone out. I'm really weird about first dates. I don't want to go and sit down at a 5-star restaurant on our first date to sit there and have a interview.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go somewhere that's more laid back. I'm also not the conventional type to like come pick me up on my first date. I'm sorry, but you don't need to know where I live either. Like, I don't need you showing up when I close the door on you and you're like, why? So I'm very different. Like, I want to go somewhere that's more relaxed, where I can be myself. It's not an interview. There's no pressure. I don't go into dating with any sort of expectations either. I think that that's another thing that can get you in trouble. But like, let's be laid back. Like, I'm very serious when I go on a date. Like, I want to talk about real life things, and that's another thing that people can't talk, start with. They don't like to talk about serious conversations, like family, what made you who you are, like experiences, real life stuff. Because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna potentially date you, I need to know, like, what bothers you, what are your red flags, what are the things that you don't like, what are some of the things that like you're working on personally to change. So
do you think that you're open as well to like those questions? Like,
absolutely.
the guy's like, hey, so what's your like red flags?
Yeah.
And, like, do you have the experiences that guys have asked you that before in the past?
I have, and I'm very honest about it. It's not like I grew up in a cookie cutter perfect home with 2 parents and everything was great. I didn't have that example of love. And I think that is something that I've learned that I'm searching for. I know myself, and like my personality is, I do carry some anxious attachment issues. But those are things that, like, if you know that up front, this is what I need. Communication is huge for me. Like, I want someone who can reassure me and make me feel comfortable. Because at the end of the day, that's what I need. If I have good communication and someone's open with me and I know where they stand with me, I'm good. There's no insecurities that come in. The jealousy stuff or whatnot. I just don't.
Well, I think,
like that.
I mean, you're beautiful. So like, I think that like a lot of guys are intimidated up front, so like that can be some things too, like for people to have to realize, like, just because I look a certain way and I present myself in a way, I'm not like closed-minded or I'm not like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, like some people can be caught up in like how people look without already knowing who they are. So when we're talking about online dating, is like, that's such a, I want to say like toxic way of meeting people, in my opinion, because like, I mean, for me it's
shallow.
different because I'm in a gay world, so it's like, it's way different for us. But like, even for women, it's like, I feel like people look at you guys and just like objectify you already up front.
It's immediately like, what do you have to go on besides a couple questions that, captions or whatever, but you're looking at the person's photos. And that's another thing that sucks. It's like, my girlfriends have always said, you don't have a type, Alexis. You're, one day out with some, a 2.
You don't have a type, though.
And then the next day, maybe it's a 10.
That's
but
good,
I need the
though.
looks and the personality. I need a little bit of everything. You want someone that takes care of themselves. But, the standard for me is just come ready to date and be open-minded.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want someone who isn't available, but no one does.
Like, get to know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
give me a
give me a chance. Exactly.
Look past the looks, too.
Right.
Girls get a bad rep. You know, when they're pretty, a lot of guys are intimidated. And I get a lot of guys who say that pretty girls also are not the nicest. And I'm like, that sucks, because I feel like I was raised to always be kind to everyone. So I try to always be kind and very polite. I give everyone the time of day until they do something wrong.
Yeah. I'm glad you're sharing that too, because like, even for me, we're friends. And like, when I first met you, I was like, oh, she's going to be trouble.
I know, you said
I was
that.
like, she's pretty, she's confident. And like, that's bad, even on my part, 'cause it's like, you don't judge people like just like that. But it's so hard not to, especially in the atmosphere that we're in. Like, we're on Broadway, so looks are important to a certain extent, and how you present yourself in any job setting is important, especially in a touristy area. And it's like, you meet these people and you're like, oh man, like, here we go. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, man, she's the sweetest person I've met. We go out of town together,
that are like that.
you know. And like, I think it's really good that like you're sharing that, because people don't see that.
Oh no, they don't.
They look at you like, this is gonna be the most
immediately
hateful-ass person.
Judged right out the gate, like never given the time of day. Girls are the same way though. You know, I get it from girls that judge me without even giving me the time of day. But
I'm not gonna get into that.
I know that.
But anyways, I think that dating is hard. I do agree with you on that. Even from my side of town, when I say that, I say with quotes, like my side of town, because it's a little tricky, because that community is not as big as I would like it.
I was going to say, that community is not really...
It's not really diverse either. Like, you just get, like, the same thing. And so it's like, what do I do if I'm meeting you and I meet somebody else who's like, y'all are the same person? Like, there's no, like, variety. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all the Skittles are yellow and there's no pink ones. Like, it's like, come on, like, give me something else.
Skittles.
So then we start traveling around. Like, we get bored and we start traveling. We start, like, venturing off to other places to meet people, and it's like, man, I live in Nashville and it's a great town.
Atlanta's close.
Atlanta is close. I've lived in Atlanta before, and I'm like, no, thank you. But the dating thing is hard. Like, I haven't dated in God knows how long. Like,
really?
Isn't it sad? Like, I haven't dated in, like, I would say a good tough 10 years. Yeah.
10 years?
I don't want to say since college, because it's going to tell my age.
Like,
but
I feel like you're more selective than
you think
even
so?
me. I think so.
I think I'm selective to a certain extent, but I also don't think people give me the opportunity. Like you said, like, people don't give you the opportunity to get to know you first before they start putting this judgment on you. And so then also, like we said earlier, like, we're in Nashville, so everybody knows each other. So it's hard to like show your genuine self when everybody you know knows you, and they know your friends and their friends and their friends. So when you like meet up with so-and-so and like, oh, I got a guy I want you to meet, or I got a girl I want you to meet, you're like, I probably already know him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so like it already like sends
and a lot of our friends are already booed up in relationships, married, or on the way to.
Exactly. So it's like, what room is it for me in this town for a dating life? And it gets a little lonely, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been single for forever, and like, I used to like, I don't care if I'm single, like, I'll be single the rest of my life, I don't care. And then I got 30 and I'm like, all right, let me think about getting a dog. And then I become 35 and I'm like, well, maybe I want a relationship. Excuse me. So I'm like, when I talk to people like you, it's like, I'm not in this world alone. But at the same time, I was like, we want what we want. We have needs. We gotta
support each other and stick together. This
the single life. So what do you do as far as like, what's your next moves? Like, do you think that like you want a serious relationship in Nashville? Do you have time for it?
I've been thinking a lot about that lately. I do. I'm still open to it. Obviously, I'm still dating, as hard as it is. I'm maybe bitter, but I'm trying not to be jaded. You know, my mom always tells me, don't be jaded, Alexis. You can't be a man hater. I'm not a man hater. It's
you
challenging. It's frustrating, and I think it's discouraging when you go and put yourself out there all the time. My lease is up in September, and this is my 3rd year in Nashville.
Oh,
so
no.
I don't know.
That's crazy you said that, because I was going to ask you, like, so what do you think this is? Like, you think this is the end of Nashville, or, like, I don't want to put too much out there, but, like...
If somebody wants to change my mind and give me a reason to stay, I'm open to it. Or if something happens where there's an opportunity for me and I need to stay, then it's, you know, it is what it is. But I have no idea where I'm going to move next.
Is
beach.
it relationship heavy, or is this like more so like what you want for yourself?
I think it's more of what I want. I think I didn't take advantage of being able to move around enough when I was in my like younger 20s. And now that I've busted out of Charlotte, I went to Atlanta after Charlotte, and then Nashville. It's like there's a whole world out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's millions of people, and I love meeting people. I love to travel. Nashville's great, but the scene it's very based around party and like go and like I think I'm ready to start slowing down and change directions.
I don't think anything changes unless you allow it to. Nashville is great, and we've had a lot of good experiences here. And like, even I think I would say you'd be an idiot not to like at least think about it, especially as you get older. Like, being here for so long, it's like, yeah, it's fine, but like, what else is there? Like, what else? What do we do now? Like, are we gonna continuously go to the same bars? Are we gonna continuously hang out with you know, like the same groups of people and just not grow? Like, do you think you're growing in Nashville? Did you what
I think it's taught me a lot of things. I think every year you grow based on like experiences and the people that you're with and like what value they add to your life.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been any like substantial growth that I would like and prefer, which is what I'm kind of searching for.
Well, that's unfortunate. I feel like
It's okay.
sometimes Nashville can either be really good for you, or like it can be a stepping stone to
I
the
definitely
next
don't think it's been
chapter.
bad. It's
Yeah.
just been another, it's a stepping stone. It's been great. I've met a lot of great people here. I have great friends.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to settle down and have a family, maybe don't think about Nashville.
Oh no, I feel like you. I mean, to a certain
If you're
extent, I feel
looking
you
to
on
speed
that.
date, though, this is the best place.
Or
to
just
speed
get a
date.
quickie real quick.
Exactly.
Like, meet the next whoever.
Yeah,
comes
if you
into
want to
town.
go on Broadway and go on the buses and go on a bar crawl and come to Nashville. But
I mean, it's fun. Like, it does draw, you know, certain crowds of people, and talk about dating and talking about relationships and talking about all that stuff. It's like we get to an age where that doesn't appeal to us anymore.
No.
You know, and I feel like people that come into town are just here for a good time and just like forget that real people exist here.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
real people are here. We are not just bartenders. We're
It is
not
100%
just, you know,
Nash
servers or
Vegas in the sense
musicians.
of like what happens in Nashville stays in Nashville kind of situation for visitors. Yeah.
I just wish that it wasn't like that, but like you grow out of things sometimes, you know. Like I said, like, relationship for me is important. I think it's important for you too, it seems like. And I think that if I was in a relationship, I wouldn't think quickly about moving.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I want to move, but it's like, for me, I want to have like something to go, like kind of go home to a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause like once you're out of work, what is there? What else is there? Like,
Yeah.
the bars, like, let's go get drunk. Like, no, like, I want, you know, so-and-so to be at home. Like,
I want to be cooking.
I want to be
dinner,
balanced. Right. I want to be
and giving you
balanced.
back rubs.
Exactly.
And snuggled up on the couch.
I want to be balanced. I don't want to just like get off work and just be like, oh, I'm bored. Let me go back out
know.
and meet up with my friends. Like, relationship is important, you know, like, and being in a city where like there's not a lot of options, can deter you.
Oh, there's options.
Well, I mean, the right kind of options. It could
But,
deter
you
you a
know.
little bit. Yeah. Do you think that? So I'm assuming Nashville is not your forever place.
We'll see. We'll see.
What do you?
I'm just leaving it open. Like, I know that I'm set on wanting to leave in September, but if something happens and I stay, then I stay. I'm just like a free bird, though.
What if Mr. Right just comes and sweep you off your feet and it's like?
Come on, I'm
Would
waiting.
that make a difference, though? You think?
I think it would. I don't think that I would be opposed to it, but maybe he'd want to move with me somewhere. I just want to travel, and I'm a beach girl too, and you know I don't like this cold weather.
Yeah, it's still cold right now. I wish it wasn't.
No.
So with that being said, do you think that, like, if you can talk to Alexis 5 years ago, and say for instance you moved here 5 years ago, what would you tell that person as far as like the do's and don'ts of like relationships?
I would tell her not to worry and be so concerned about dating. Take your time, focus on yourself. What's meant to be will fall into place. And I'm a big firm believer that like God has a plan for me, and to be patient. Patience is something that I'm working on. I'm not patient. There's no patience to me. I want it now. Like, so I definitely would say slow down. Don't worry about it. Focus on yourself. Whatever's meant to be will be.
Yeah. And Nashville is not going to slow down.
No.
It is on the fast track, honey.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. I think that we all have some things to work on when it comes to like dating here. And I wish that I had more experience than you did. Like, like I think the genre here in Nashville, I think it's easier for women to go on dates than it is for guys to go on dates. Because like guys come to meet girls and like, and hang out and like see these pretty women like at these places. And so you guys have an opportunity like that we may not get, because like we're the chaser in this town opposed to like being chased.
Oh yeah, we could go on dates every single night and never pay for dinner again if we wanted.
Exactly. It's very much a woman catered town to a certain extent. So when it comes to dating for me, it's like, well, I got to go out there and go chase the dog. I have to go look for it. Do you think that that's a problem for girls here in the town? Like they're always chased after. They're always like, seen as these objects almost to a certain extent, especially working behind a bar. You get people coming to town and like, oh, look at that pretty girl. And like, all of a sudden, you go from being not busy to like, everybody's over there in the corner, like with so-and-so, like just like.
I have fallen in love one too many times with a visitor, especially like if you have an accent, if you're foreign and
that's your thing?
It's over. I fell in love with an Australian and he broke my heart in 2 days. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that, again, we have a lot more options than, the normal city.
Yeah.
But they're not good. No.
I wouldn't say they're not good.
No.
I mean, that's based on experience, I guess.
Exactly.
But what's one experience you've had like in general at work, like where some guy?
Oh man, an Australian golfer. He was very, very cute, and we went on 2 dates and back to back. And the last day, I was walking him to his Uber, and he had like the map up. Mm-hmm. There's a girl's name that pops across the top with a heart beside it. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But I mean, I fell in love with him. And then I was like,
are you surprised though?
No, not at all.
Oh my God. Remember, it was one time where I went to, I went to Mexico. And I came back. I met this dude on the plane. Remember that? And I'm not gonna say his name. But I was like, oh yeah, I met this person on the plane. He was like really nice, and he was in my big red flag when he told me, he was like, I am here for a Christian retreat or something like that was going on at the time. It was like last year sometime. And I was like, Christian retreat? What are you going to Nashville for if you're on a Christian retreat? And he was like, well, I can meet up with you and I can like, hang out. I didn't think anything of it because when I meet guys, especially like random guys like out in public, I instantly put them in like the straight bubble. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, he's just a straight guy. He told me he had kids. He showed me a picture of his family. He was divorced. He's been divorced for like however many years. He was from Austin, Texas, and he came into town. And I was like, yeah, I'll meet up with you and not think anything of it. Because you know me, I'll dismiss things like very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And he came to my job. Like I told him where I was working the day I was working, didn't think anything of it. Because of course I work at a place downtown where it's like, yeah, come see me. Come spend your money on me, And he came. I was working dining room floor, and he sat in my section and sat in a little two-top by himself. And I made sure that like we were busy. It was like during like the end of the summer, and we were busy. And I made sure I like took care of him. I was like, oh, come, follow me. I got you. Sits there for like 2 hours. I shit you not. And was just like kicking with me. Don't matter how much he tipped me. He was just cool.
Yeah.
He was chill. I still didn't think anything of it. I was like, he was just he's here by himself on a retreat, and he probably just wants to like get out of the hotel, or whatever. That night, he texted me and he was like, I want to get out. Like, what are you guys doing tonight? I was like, we're going to Whiskey River to see a friend. And so we went there. He shows up. So now I'm like getting like in my feels. Because with the gay community, like we fall in love in like 5 seconds. And I'm like, oh, I got this guy. I know. I start like talking to my friends. I was like, oh, I got this dude. He's meeting me up. Like at first, I met him on the plane. And he came to Whiskey River. It was on the rooftop. It was still nice out. It was around like September. And he met my friends, because you know how it goes. We're always out with our friends. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, this guy's like into you. I was like, no, he has his kids. And And he texted me like some off the wall stuff. Like I'm not gonna like get into detail, but like just like giving me like these telltale signs. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I never did anything with him. But once he left, we talked maybe for like another day or two, and then he deleted me off all social media.
Oh,
I'm like,
sketch.
what? I'm like, what? See that, and that's the experience.
That life he came back in.
Right, that's the experience. I'm like, man, damn, like you literally meet these people who are from out of town and just give you the runaround just to satisfy their own like things in their head, their own needs, whatever. And
do you think you run into the issue of like finding straight men that are actually like in the closet?
Okay, so I'm like,
I'm serious because I feel like that's a common thing. Like a lot of guys might be playing off that they're straight and they're not straight.
Well, that's who's in the interview round. But no, I think that I do run into some suspicious characters, but like I say, I always like kind of like just dismiss it because like I'm the kind of person that wants to give you kind of the respect at first until you make the move. Because I mean, we already get a flack already for like chasing after like these straight guys, like trying to go after like stuff we can't get, you know. And so, like, at this point in my life, it wasn't always the case, but at this point in my life, I like to give people the respect of, like, all right, you say what you are. I respect that. Let's go with that. And then once you start teeter-tottering over the line, it's like, all right, what are we doing? And so that's why I'm so hesitant to, like, have straight friends sometimes is, like, you know, I like attractive people. We all do. And we gravitate towards like-minded individuals. And I've gotten caught up a little bit in, like, liking friends. And you have to kind of train your mind to like not do that. And in Nashville, it's so hard because like there's a lot of attractive people here.
A lot,
and and then our friend groups are very attractive. So it's like you can't find love out in the world. So let's dabble in our friend group real quick.
That's the problem too. People always say don't hook up with your coworkers, for instance. But you're with these people, you know, 9 hours a day, 4 days a week.
Exactly. I spend more time with y'all than I do with.
It
at
gets
home
hard,
on my couch.
you know.
Yeah.
It's a sticky situation.
It's a sticky situation, man. You gotta train your mind.
We can save that.
For another segment.
That's a whole.
You gotta train
topic.
yourself. You have to train yourself though, for real.
Well,
it's like if my relationship outside of work is not working out, and I can't find, you know, a genuine relationship with somebody who I can go on more than 4 dates with, then what do? What's my next option? And then you take the time that you work versus the time you're at home. It's like, all right, so I'm around this person for a long time. And we have
you start building a relationship, and then you start building attraction, and then it's just.
Has that ever happened before? You don't have to answer that question.
Several times. Several times it has.
I think any workspace we've been in, that's happened or came about. But that's just natural. Like you can't really help that, especially like I said, like we've said, you're with them more time than you are outside of them. So it's like you have to be a strong-minded person to not dabble in that.
when it hits the fan and it doesn't go the way you want it to, it's just
that's just on that person, you know.
Got to shake hands and call it a day.
Yeah. You got to be careful though. You got to be careful, especially like in this city. You know, Nashville is like the smallest big town I've ever lived in. So it's I know my actions will eventually come around. And I think you can attest to that. Like you have to be careful like a lot of times with people and who you meet, because even from their out of town perspective, like they might be in town meeting friends that work in your establishment, and then you like meet them on social media because you know we all turn our dating apps on when we go out of town, and then
every time I'm out of town, I go and switch that thing to the location wherever I'm going.
I stay scrolling when I go out of town. I'm like, who can I find? And then with it being Nashville, it's like the bar scene is so concentrated. Of course, they're gonna go on Broadway, so it's like, ooh, who do you know? Like then you gotta start asking these like questions to these people, like giving them like a whole like rundown. And they're like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you asking me? Because you're going to probably meet up with some of my friends. And I'm like...
100%. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people in this city who could say that they've shared the same love interest.
Ooh, let's talk about that. I don't want to talk about that.
No.
I mean, it happens, though. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I think that, like, in Nashville, like, I think it happens more so than it does in a lot of other cities because of the fact that everything is so concentrated towards Broadway. So when people come here, they're gonna like track. They might go to East, they might go to like Midtown, but they're going to go downtown. And when you start, you know, hooking up or doing whatever, it's like you may have touch somebody else that I know or have known.
Who am I sharing germs with?
Right? It's like X, X, X. So like it makes it even more harder to be in a relationship because it's like, do I want to date somebody who has potentially dated within my circle? You know, that's tough.
It's a whole nother beast.
Yeah. So you are thinking about leaving. So what is your goals and aspirations after Nashville, if that's a thing?
I want to hop back into real estate and interior design really bad. I've always wanted to buy and flip houses, and I've had this little idea for a tree house in my head for so long. I wanted originally to find a piece of property here in Tennessee that was like by the lake somewhere and build this cute little Airbnb. And, you know, I think I kind of steered away from that because as bartenders, when you're working 4 days a week or 5 days a week, you're exhausted, right? Yeah. So like the idea or thought of taking on another project or doing something else is pretty hard. I want to start to kind of steer away from our industry. Like I love it, but to slow down and kind of, you know, redirect. But we'll see. Yeah.
I think redirecting and focusing on your goals and your dreams are important. Like I'm doing here. You know, I think I want to do a lot of good things with this. I have like some merch coming out, some ideas for that. So I'll support you wholeheartedly, you know, and I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It means so much. You know, I love you to death.
I love you.
Yeah, thanks for being
I'm here to support you
my
and
first
cheer
generation.
you on.
Yeah, thank you so much. And good luck to you. You know, I really think that like you're gonna do good things in the world. You've done nothing but nice things, you know, so far. So I think the sky's the limit for you.
You'll be right there with me. So.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This is the life we choose. Life we choose. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. I've been doing just fine.